Welcome to Wctv. I'm Kaylee Snotters.
And I'm Megan Gilbert.
Today, on our 7th episode, we have a story on the 2nd Street Bridge plaque dedication.
We will also be catching up on how social networking is being incorporated into our classrooms.
And we will be introducing our newest segment that will bring music to your ears.
We'll be right back.
Megan, did you hear about the plaque dedication in honor of Stephen Sears?
Yeah, it happened on Veterans Day, didn't it?
Yeah, Darlene Dingman and the class of 1965 decided to dedicate a plaque in his honor.
The plaque is located on the 2nd Street Bridge here in Webster City.
For those of you who don't know who Stephen Sears is and how he impacted our community, Cambria Hoffman has the story.
Some of you may remember him as the boy that played the guitar and made up songs, and he loved to sing. Some of you might remember him as the boy that loved animals, and especially fish.
Talking like Donald Duck.
A lot of you might remember him as Birdman. That was his nickname, because he could sneak up on a bird and catch it.
Walking on his hands. He walked upstairs and downstairs and around on his hands like they were feet.
He was in the grocery store. Lots of times you'd see some feet going in the aisle beside you.
These fond memories were told of a beloved son, brother, husband, and friend who died in Vietnam. A fellow Navy corpsman describes the day he died.
Two-man sprints going across an open rice paddy, going into cover, and so I was with the forward third of the column. I got across, and Stephen was about ready to come over. I heard an explosion, and Stephen had tripped a mine, and I had no way of knowing that it was him who was injured. I just turned and responded and ran back, crossed the rice paddy, back through the minefield, and he was laying there in the paddy, mortally wounded.
Stephen Sears' personality was missed both at home and in his unit. His mother tells about how his wife of 2 months recovered.
It was real hard for Betty because she had to go through that, watching me too, get the news. And it was real hard on Betty, and she refused to eat, and she got real thin, and her folks brought her over to our house one day. We took her on a trip to get her away, and we went down to the St. Louis Arch and the Ozarks, and sort of got her over it then. I think Betty, from that time on, I think Betty came out of it pretty good.
Darlene Dingman graduated with Stephen, but had always felt bad about the lack of recognition.
These men are asked to give their life. And could most of us do that?
To try to get some closure for the family, she set out to honor him.
It's kind of been a long time coming. He was in the class of 1965, and we always knew that he was the first casualty from Hamilton County in the Vietnam War. And we have always honored him at every class reunion. But earlier this year, I was driving down Bank Street, and I did a double take and noticed that there was a plaque on the Bank Street Bridge that I just had never noticed before. It's the James Wedding plaque, and he was the first one from World War I to be a casualty of Hamilton County. There is the Des Moines Street Bridge, and there's a plaque on it for Marshall Crippen, and he's the first casualty from World War II. And I guess things just started clicking in my mind that, well, why don't we try to see if we can get a plaque for Stephen?
The ceremony honored Steve and his family. They had positive feedback on the event.
It was wonderful. It was there was more people here than I ever dreamed was in Webster City.
It's not like another funeral. It's a joyful event to celebrate Steve's life and the hard work and just the wonderful things he did over there.
I'm so happy. It makes me happy to feel that Stephen is finally honored after all these years,
And of course, I wish I had him back again. But we gained Mr. Brodsky, and Mr. Brodsky is a wonderful person too. So
Many people give their lives for our country, and this is just one example of a family getting reunited after a death over 40 years ago. This has been Cambria Hoffman reporting for WCTV.
Thanks, Cambria. This is something that will be remembered and appreciated for many years to come.
I always remember what my Spanish assignment was for today.
Your teachers should put their assignments online, like Mrs. Kramer does for French.
Yeah, technology is a great way to link the classroom to home or wherever you are.
Here's Doug Stokes with the scoop on social networking in the high school.
Social networking has quickly become a great way to keep in touch with one's friends. But these different sites have become much more than that to WCHS. Certain steps have to be made to ensure that these sites remain safe and relevant for classroom use.
Most social networking sites are blocked at the high school for two reasons. One, we have a legal requirement to block certain sites, and two, it's for the safety of the students and staff. A couple social networking sites available for students. The first one is Twitter. That's allowed in school, and the second one is Moodle. There's a couple social networking features built into Moodle so kids can collaborate with each other and teachers.
For a couple years, Moodle has provided a different way for students to interact in the classroom. In the search for a more student-friendly resource, a few teachers have taken advantage of some social sites to better connect with their students. How do you utilize social networking in the classroom?
I have begun using Twitter in our classroom. I think students benefit from using these social networking sites because they're used to it, they like it, it's handy, it's something new.
WCHS has definitely moved forward with its use of technology by the use of smart boards, one-to-one interaction of iPads, and the use of social networking sites. These all have one thing in common, taking major leaps to better the classroom atmosphere by means of technology. This has been Doug Stokes reporting for WCTV.
Many of you social network on your own time, on your phones, computers, iPods, and other sources of technology.
And due to the new cell phone policy, it is even easier to update your status or send your latest tweet into cyberspace during the day.
And on top of all that, shortcuts on these devices make life even easier.
Jan Ryherd puts the app in applicable for our latest segment.
This week's applicable app is SoundHound. This innovative sound search will help you identify songs playing in as little as 4 seconds. For those of you who can carry a tune, SoundHound has the world's only sing and hum recognition. When a song is identified, SoundHound will tell you lyrics, videos, tour dates, and other content on the song. This app is free and available for both iPhones and Droids. I'm Jan Ryherd for Applicable Apps.
Thanks, Jan. I'm sure that'll come in handy.
Next week, WCTV will air our Thanksgiving episode.
It'll show on Wednesday, November 23rd, so be sure to tune in.
It will cover family Thanksgiving traditions and the Empty Bowl Project for those who may not be able to afford a Thanksgiving meal.
It will also include a cooking show from 2 of our talent.
For those of you who can't wait to eat your Thanksgiving meal, the Vocal Boosters are hosting a Dad's Belgian Waffle for an all-you-can-eat breakfast at the Middle School Commons on Sunday from 9 to 1. The cost is $7.
See you next week.
Can we get down? Come on, tell me, can we get down? Come on, can we get down? Come on, tell me, can we get down?